All right, hello, welcome to Digital Marketing Masterclass Live. We've got a very special episode today. We're talking about how to succeed in digital marketing and digital advertising in an ever-changing landscape. And today's special guest is Dave Geipel. Dave is the VP. He's the VP of Sales and Marketing for Mobile Marketing.agency or Mobile Marketing Agency. Dave, welcome to the show.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Chris. Good to chat as always and reconnect. So this has been great. And I've been watching you recently. You're killing it. Keep it going, man. Keep it going. I'm learning from you too. So it's good. You know, you're bringing new things to light for all of us. So it's great. Thanks for having me.
So Dave and I knew each other way back in the day. Dave, tell us a little bit about your career, and then I'll talk to you about how our lives just keep intertwining.
Right on. Yeah. So I first met you. If my memory is still any decent, maybe 2005, 6, somewhere in that time period, and a startup that I had originally called Quasi, and then Cell Signs, and Cell Signs was the first real estate text messaging solution on the market, and won some great awards. I went to a lot of shows to kind of teach the market. If you remember, it was teaching really the agents how to send a text message. They're like, what do I do with this? It's like, don't worry about it. Your customers are using it. And so early on, I think both of us together, we were able to see firsthand, how technology was going to revolutionize marketing and being able to connect people with brands, products, services of sorts, and really being able to use their phones to help do that. And it's amazing, yeah. And I always remember, I don't know if you remember this one, we're going to probably go way off script, but, those are the days of very early on flip phones as well as early Blackberries. And I think it was myself who was, that's right. And you hit me up the other day, just randomly. You sent me this Crackberry, Business Wars podcast, which I love all the time. And I was like, yeah, that was me. I had the Crackberry. It was like had the crack and anyways. Those weren't so bad though. I mean, at least you knew it was just a surface scratch. And today you drop your phone and everything's gone. You're
it's crazy, right? It's crazy. I also remember I was working for you at the time. I was just doing design work, and then you were like, "Hey, we got a convention in San Francisco. Do you want to go?" And something happened where you got to the airport, and my ticket wouldn't work because it was, at TSA. So you guys flew. I drove home, and then you called me, and you're like, "Get back to the airport. I just bought you a ticket to go back out." So I fly out. I meet you there. We're at NAR. What is that?
National Association of Realtors. Yep.
And there's this company. This company is like, it's coming. We're like, what could this company be? I kind of got a feeling what they're going to do. And it was Zillow.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Free Zillow.
Free Zillow. Nobody even knew what was going on there. That was actually at an event up in New York. That happened too. And we were all just sitting there like, all right. But the best thing that we won't even hint at, but I will just hint at is, you have Eye of the Tiger playing for yourself all the time. Like you're constantly going, and, what can I do? And you were that early go-getter. And that's what I really always appreciate about you. You weren't, you didn't let, fear was not a factor, as Joe would say for you. You would go at it. And if it was a competitor, you were like, let's throw down the gloves. And that was our mentality as well. Is like, we are doing something better, and whatever's right for the customer in the end is what we stand by and stick to. And, and those ethics kind of help you make you stand stronger. And so, so slap down, smack downs. You brought your A game, and I always appreciated that. And it shows to where you are today. So,
what's funny is that, so your company Quasi, which is questions with answers and simple information, that sort of sunsetted. I took the term, I use it every day. My employees use it every day.
That's
so
amazing.
Questions with answers and simple information. In a lot of ways, that's content marketing, right? There's some people that want a bite-sized piece of answers, and others who want long-form answers.
Yeah, put
and
a snippet around it.
You got to figure out how. And it's the companies that create the most useful website wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's
Absolutely.
the heart of Quasi.
Yeah, that was exactly right, and that was the acronym QWASI, and it moved off of it. And of course, every brand matures, but still to this day too, I do secretly say that same thing. and it's great.
Yeah.
It's great positioning.
Yeah. I
So
mean, you
funny.
lived
Thanks
it.
for
I
that.
gotta
Yeah.
say, you lived
That's great,
it.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And the company's doing great still. I mean, they're based in New York, and that startup
Mm.
that had cell signs as a subsidiary, that
Yep.
that kind of went away because the bigger marketing opportunities presented themselves. Got into mobile
Mhm.
commerce, did a ton with banks as well as e-com players. Now
Nice.
IoT and that whole space with social and IoT and mobile
Yeah.
devices. And, that connectivity still is so key, and they're killing it. So it's great.
The- It's crazy though. I mean, the technology curve is straight up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's unbelievable. I mean, we thought we were so cutting edge in '05 or '06, and it's like we didn't even know that the rest of your
What was
life is going
coming.
to be a rocket ship.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
it's absolutely true. And every day it's something you have to always be learning. That's I
Yeah.
think one of the things that I appreciate about the group that I'm with today. But we really are out there educating people still and making sure
Yep.
that whether it's a retailer or a brand, whether it's just a CPG, whatever type of company it is, we're constantly educating them as we learn as well and see what works, what doesn't work.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think our degrees, ever evolve. We're never done learning,
I
and that's I
know.
think
I
in
know.
marketing, yeah, those that are doing that and making sure that that's part
Yeah.
of their DNA and culture,
Mhm.
we are doing the right thing for the customer in the end. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, a couple times a year,
yeah,
I get to teach a guest lecture at some universities because I'm actually literally I'm hunting for killers. And so what I do is that I find them right out of college and I try
yeah,
to find the 1% of the one percenters. And then from there, I put them in through an internship and then
it's great.
ideally paid internship. And then
Yeah,
usually I hire about 40 to 60% of them because I like to be able to know that I get fooled by resumes all the time. So I like to sit next to them and watch them grow and find out whether they're really for us or not. But one
yeah,
of the
that's
things
great.
that's interesting though, right, is that I get to speak to these college kids and I'm like, everything you're learning right now will be 95% of it will be obsolete in 3 years.
Yeah,
But
true.
if you can learn how to love marketing,
Yeah,
you will always be ahead of the curve. You know what I mean?
100%.
And
Love that.
and
That's great.
it's crazy though, but you have something's going to be attacking you now that no college kid had to ever worry about, and that's AI. And
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't say that you would look at AI right now and be like, oh my gosh, it's a threat to my job. But it's 2022, right?
yeah,
Where will it be in 2025? Where will it be in
exactly right.
2000? You know what I mean? You'll be
Exactly right.
5 years out
Yeah,
of your job. You know what I mean? And so
yeah,
I'm not afraid of Wix right now, but I am afraid of Wix in 2030.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think there'll
yeah,
always be a place for a custom made website, but
right.
that technology will get better in time, and it'll
Absolutely.
take. I don't know. It's just it's one of those things. It'll probably bite a third of the market share of SMB. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's just how can those platforms understand those customers better than they understand themselves and put something in front of them that right away they're like, whoa, how did you know that? That's what I was
yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
And
yeah,
yeah, and you put in, you might put in your social media, credentials.
yeah.
You might tell them like who your competitors are that you really want to emulate or
Mhm.
let's face it, copy, on the SMB
Yeah.
side. I want to be like them, but we're smaller. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, you're absolutely spot on. How do those technologies interpret and be able to present and craft, experiences that honestly today it takes teams to craft, to
Yeah.
create, yeah, great
Yeah.
insight.
Yeah. I mean,
Gosh.
that's actually one of the approaches that we take. So
Hmm.
we'll go to a company though, and we'll say, let's say I'm thinking I'm building a website or I'm building a campaign or something like that. I'll say, let's find a company that you really like. The only rule is it can't be in your industry because, I hate this phrase.
Yeah,
It got crushed, but like that whole like Me Too marketing, ignore
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
Me Too that's I don't know whatever
Right
Hollywood
on.
type Me Too stuff,
Yeah,
but the Me Too as far as okay, this is how my industry like crafts a message, and I want one of those too, and I'm like,
yeah,
well then you just look like everybody else. So you know what I mean? Like I know it sounds weird, but I'm just like, hey, what's a sports team that you like? What is a whatever
yeah.
that
That's
you
great.
like? And what are they doing differently? right? And I promise it'll probably translate to your industry and you don't even know it. I see that in medical. It's like I tell medical, it's kind of like dare to be different. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
everybody looks the same.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's just a different placard, a different name on top. Everyone's building new buildings in that space and trying to be the next new shiny object. But you're right. How
Yeah.
does your message? How does your message break through? Yeah, because that's what's going to
Yeah.
connect in the end. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. That's really good.
I mean, like you're going to be a needle in a stack of needles, or you are going to be someone that looks a little bit different and it looks a little bit like, oh, I don't know that that's professional. It's like, well, give it a minute. Give it a minute and it'll grow on people,
Yep,
you know?
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
right, though. I mean, I think where do we get in? Where do we draw, from in terms of what we're inspired by, and how do we want our customers, our clients, to feel the same, that same form of inspiration or connection,
Yeah.
that we feel. And hopefully that's right. Hopefully you're not out on your own and nobody else is with you, But in other
Yeah.
words, like you're not so far out there in your mind's eye that you're ahead of your customers. The customers aren't willing to go there. But that's what vision's about, having that
Yeah.
vision, knowing where it's going and wanting to be there. So yeah, you typically have to go to those really expensive, brand agency, type clients to see where the next is going
Yeah.
to be. And it might be a little bit too far out, but gosh, 2-3 years from now, they're going
Yep.
to be like mainstream. And so, yeah, it's keep the
Yeah.
edge.
Yep. Well, I also think that technology allows us to craft a message that's different from so a lot of times they'll say,
Yeah.
well, I want to look just like my industry. And I'll be like, well, what is your unique advantage? And they're like, we have this
Yeah.
really cutting edge piece of technology. And I'm like, then make yourself look like a technology company that sits in a different industry, not the industry that everyone knows, that everyone looks the same. And
Yeah.
we've got some technology. It's like
Right.
your
Right on.
technology gets to be your differentiator, and then it gets to
Absolutely.
differentiate your brand. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so that's
100%.
a big thing for us from a creativity standpoint, is like if you're looking for an excuse to be different, technology can almost always be that excuse.
Yep, 100%. And that's what I love to walk in every day, so to say, figure of speech, to as that challenge. Yeah. And
Yeah,
me on the tech side, I'm always like, how can this
yeah,
tech, really transform this or that, and I'm
yeah,
always looking, and then let's go develop that if it doesn't exist, so that our clients can have
yeah,
that, and we get to do that a lot.
yeah,
At my agency today, it's our agency's just constantly looking at where we need to be for our clients and get there as quick as can. That makes the most sense and really
yeah,
helps deliver value. And so
yeah.
yeah, it's not just a cool, remember the old whiz bang, name? That was a
Uh-huh.
name we used to throw around back in the day.
Yeah,
Yeah, that whiz bang technology. It's not just having that in your back pocket anymore. It's truly about, the right approach and making sure, everyone back in the day wanted to build an app. And it was
mhm,
like, no, you really don't need an app. You're not there yet. You might have three
yeah,
people that use it, and you're going to
yeah,
invest all this time, money, resource into that. Why don't you put it over here, grow your business where you are today and
yeah,
ascribe towards that in the future if that's where the market's going to take you. So
yeah.
yeah, it's a balance,
I, I,
it really is, really is,
I,
not
al-
having the, yeah,
I always say, let's build you a great mobile website.
hmm,
All right. And
yes,
then let's see what your adoption rate is on the mobile side. And when the
yeah,
mobile side is exploding, right,
yeah,
then we start to make an argument for an app.
yeah,
But I have
hands
to,
down,
you know what I mean? But so many people
yeah,
are like, I'm going to build an app. I'm going to build an app. I'm like, I think there's some statistic you would know better than I would, but it's saying something like the average person only uses 8 apps on their phone, even though they have 100 there. It's like when you used to have satellite TV and they're like, you get 1,000 channels. I was like, yeah, that's cool, but I watch 6.
that's it.
You know,
And
you know what
honestly,
I mean?
I'll be completely transparent. Like I have
Uh,
like DirecTV now. I pay the big subscription fees. They used to be like $30. AT&T got a
yep,
hold of them, drove them up to 50, 60. It's up at $70 now. And I'm like,
yep.
how's this any different from cutting the cord? Like I literally want to watch a
Mhm.
couple of sports channels and I want a
Yep,
couple of other shows. And then yeah, it's
yep,
just but nobody still comes to that. Hey, here's the one app that you need, or the three apps that you may need, and it's
yeah.
frustrating still to this day of the the control that they have. I understand it, but
Mhm.
gosh, we got to do better because
Yeah.
I'm not happy
Well,
about
well,
paying that bill.
that's actually a good pivot. So
Yeah.
um, we, a lot of people are cutting the cord.
Yep.
Obviously, And there's a subscription channel for everything. I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, I think one of the number one ways when you can't break the ice with somebody, I know it sounds crazy, but it's like, hey, what are you watching these days?
Yeah,
Because people aren't watching movies anymore. They're on a ride, like a 10-week ride of a TV show,
absolutely.
right?
I'm in the middle
Yeah.
of and every day is like a check-in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't
I've
seen
got
that? Yep.
and it's kind of cool in my house. Like we've got I've got my own demographic profiles with my youngest, which is now 15. Gosh, and then my daughter, who's like a whole nother set of programs that she'll watch. I still want to create some time like together, and hey, let's watch this together. And she's got her own like the whole murder podcasts and
Yeah.
Netflix series, and she loves
I
them.
know.
And the worst is, I'm like, hey, can we watch that? It just dropped like 3 days ago. It's
Mhm.
brand new. It's like it's trending
Yep.
on Netflix. Well, the reason it's trending is she's already watched it, and I'm like, come on, you gotta
Uh,
save one of these for us,
I know.
and yeah, my son's like, we're still into some traditional. He's a musician or musically inclined, and still loves American Idol and what that brings. So we still get to
Yeah.
watch that and catch up. We caught up on it because
Yeah.
we didn't stay up after the feud on Oscar night the other night, but
Yeah.
it's
Joke.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone missed that. Afterwards was American Idol, like at 11:30 at night. That was like probably the latest American Idol it ever was, and I was like, yeah, we'll just watch it the next day. And then the next day we were watching all the recaps of what just happened the night before, and
Yeah.
you're like,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, that's a
Slapshot.
whole funny little,
Yep.
yeah, yep. So,
Yep.
anyways, yeah, it's fun. It's fun to have your must see TV night. If you remember that, the old NBC
Yeah.
position Thursday
That
nights
doesn't exist anymore. It's
completely
like
changed.
literally every night can be must see TV. Now, what is funny though
Absolutely.
is that
And
I
you
have
learn
this.
from what people watch, so it's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I have this moral high horse on like, hey, we need to get away from our devices. And
yeah,
then the very next conversation, people are like, hey, what are you watching? And like, let's just say hypothetically I'm doing this. I'm like, well, you should watch, like, they're like, oh, I haven't seen Sopranos. Like, you haven't seen Sopranos. I'm like,
what? Yeah,
you have to watch that. But
yes,
what I'm not saying is, right, this is something you might be interested in. Go dedicate 70 hours to
right.
watch. Right? It's like it's 70 hours. That's literally what
I
I'm telling you
absolutely.
to
I travel a lot, so I'm always with my iPad, right?
do. Yeah.
And literally, you're gonna laugh at this one. The other day, I finally go, you know what? I haven't seen a good in succession a good like a few Seinfeld shows. So what did I
Mhm.
do? I watched the whole first season, which I was like, oh my gosh, I completely forgot this season of
It's
Seinfeld.
crazy,
Everyone
right?
around me is like, you're watching that? I'm like, yeah, it's like it was great
Yeah.
TV back in the day. I just need to sit
Yeah.
back and take it in for a minute. But yeah,
Yep.
it's crazy on how we go and how we consume and why we consume it. And
Yep.
yeah, it's just, yeah. I mean, Game of Thrones in on while you're in watching reruns on that, or the past episodes and series on an airplane is probably not advisable. I mean, you just don't know who's going to be around you. But like yeah. But and but the kid, but having something that you notice all of a sudden everyone, no matter who they are in certain shows, they'll just
Mhm.
all like watch the subtitles, and so pretty soon you have your own like I guess it's
Yep.
like an airplane movie theater. I don't know of your own, your own theater
Yeah.
that you just created, and other people are driving in. They have to watch it because they're sitting next to you, and
Yeah.
they just get all consumed. It's kind of a fun experience. I really love doing that and seeing
Yeah.
who watches, and yeah, it's cool. But yeah,
Yep.
I think there's something to be told though about what shows people are watching, and even the ability for us to target. We were talking earlier, just any connected device anymore, and how you can
Yep.
reach customers based on preferences and what they watch and how they consume
Yep.
media, and yet how can you get your message in front of them? And gosh, we have some tools today.
Yep.
10
Yep.
years ago, 5 years ago. Um, I'll give you a quick story. This is a really funny one. I've never said this story out loud. This is an eyeglass case, but call this or your remote control. I was working for
Mhm.
QVC at the time, and we created like the first buy button. Like literally, we dedicated space on a Comcast remote that if you pushed it, it literally would buy that product on TV and get you into a checkout cart and then turn around and buy
Jeez.
it. And yeah, we were doing some really cool data things back in the day.
Mhm.
I probably can disclose it now. I'm way past an NDA, but the bottom line was it was all about data and how they were on top of your TV, and
Yeah.
they were able to literally know everything about that household, how they consumed media, and they would turn around and sell some of that meta type high level data
Mhm.
to advertising agencies and so forth. Sold more spot TV that way. But man,
Mhm.
today it was all about where they really wanted to get, and that was to that individual person with that remote, and to make sure that they can connect to that customer and put an ad in front, allow them to take action. Even put a
Yeah.
QR code that they know they probably have a propensity of scanning. Go figure. So
Mhm.
it's just. And I'm not talking about Super Bowl ads. I think that was probably the
Yeah.
most brilliant Super Bowl ad, of the whole entire year. And it just kind of like fell on some people, and they didn't know what was happening. And yet I'm like,
Uh-huh.
that's so brilliant. QR codes, like, we all
Yep.
can do it now because you can scan it through your phone. And that's the exact audience that they're really going after anyways. He's like, what is that? I wonder if I scan. Oh, wow,
Yeah.
look at that. Yeah, people in
But we're
our,
like a
age.
dog. We're like a dog seeing a
Right.
laser pointer. We're like,
Oh,
you
ooh, whoa, yeah.
know what I mean?
Well, what can we do?
Yeah.
Kids today are like,
Yeah.
that's a QR code. And you're like, wow, it's cool. But actually, that's the demographic they were going after. And so it was like so perfect. It wasn't for just a kid. It was like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to scan that and know what that means and be like, oh, yeah, it's Coinbase, whatever. But it's for those who aren't into crypto yet that were like, oh, wow, this is an easy way in. I can get to learn this market. And it was
Yeah.
brilliant in so many ways that we
Yep.
won't even know, the exact media plan and strategy around that. But gosh, it was so
Mhm.
good. So, anyways,
But it's crazy. So I mean, if you're not paying attention to these things, because the art of the advertising is also the art of subtlety. And
yeah,
so, I don't think that people realize how we are taking the same power of targeting you from your phone, that we're going to do that in your house on TV.
yeah,
You and I were talking about OTT. If you're not familiar with OTT, it's kind
yeah.
of like the idea of this, that we're going to be able to reach you
Over
on
the
any
top.
device and then
Yeah,
over the top. You know what I
that's
mean?
it. Over
And
the
then connected TV. I think
connected.
70% of households, including baby boomers, have
That's it.
connected TVs.
Yep.
It's you know what I mean? It's crazy. And
Yeah.
so, like, whether you're doing programmatic or things like that, there are
Hmm.
things that you can do to just basically say, if they know you by name, that's ideal. But they're also looking at the macro analytics, but saying,
Hmm.
Dave has watched 70% of this video, and then he also saw this mobile ad, and he engaged with your website twice and stuff like that. And so, in this rubric of a lead score, Dave would be an ideal client.
Hmm.
I can also connect to Dave's phone, and if I have a brick and mortar store, I can measure foot traffic.
Yeah,
And so
that's right.
now it's become this very creepy world of knowing not only what you do on your device,
Yeah,
but where you live, how you act, and stuff like that. I
yeah.
was
We
I
were
was
we
I was I was, I was talking about
yeah,
that beta
yeah.
with
For
Google,
there you go.
with
Yeah,
so those digital billboards, like late at night when there's only a few cars on the road, they're trying to do a beta where they literally, like, you're going to drive by a billboard and it's going to switch,
right.
like Minority Report, to an
Exactly.
ad
Minority
that's
Report.
important to
Yep.
you, because
Hi.
they
Yeah.
know
Hi.
that
Hi, Dave. Hi, Tom Cruise. And you're like, this
it's
is crazy.
it's
We're
it's
there.
unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, and it's funny
And
though,
it's
because
yeah.
the same I'm at St. Joe's. I'm teaching this course yesterday,
Cool.
and not key course. I just basically do a lecture, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Well, what about privacy?" And I'm like, "Well, I totally get it about privacy. I'm for privacy, but
Hmm.
you're also the same people that waited in the cold around the block at the Apple store for the new iPhone. That
Uh-huh.
was just a box, all right? That's just a box. All it is just a fast box.
That's it.
What's intuitive that makes this phone great are these things that you're saying, oh, I don't want that to happen. I'm like, I promise you, when you're looking for a washing machine, you're getting ads for hunting equipment. You know what I mean? Like, these
Yeah.
ads, while they were invading your privacy, were also, in some way, shape, or form, making your life better. Like, we
That's
always
exactly
take the
right. It's funding
cynicism
it.
line on, like, ads,
Yeah.
which is fine, and I totally get it. You know what I mean? But on the
Yeah.
other hand, nobody looks at the upside of ads, that I'm going to get better products and services because it's spoon feeding me the competition and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's right.
And so I
And
I
you're right. I mean,
I click allow when
yeah,
privacy notifications. I was like, yeah, because you're going to get it
exactly right.
anyway. You're
You
eventually
are.
going to get it anyway. Like,
One
who am I
shape or
fooling?
form.
Who am I fooling? Yeah,
Right. And
yeah,
if they can give you something really good, gosh, don't you want it? It's like, oh,
yeah.
yeah. I think there's something interesting with that paradigm shift though too. It's like, we want to see, more privacy focused, opportunities kind of coming to us too. Like if I do say yes, like what are you going to do for me? And being more upfront too. And so, you almost wonder, will we in 2, 3, 5, kind of get there where it does create a better experience because you said yes. But the brand, the advertiser, the platform behind it is saying we're actually going to make those moves happen. and make that happen for you, because we really do care about privacy, and we're going to just give you a better experience and actually prove it to you. So let us prove it to you. But yeah, it's, Gmail is never free. It always was hey, we're going to scan your email. Like, that's just crazy to put an ad in front of me. Like, okay. And nobody realized it. And then, all of a sudden people are like, wait, how do I get my email for free? Shouldn't that just be free?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's just that, if it's free, then you are the product.
you are. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you know what I
exactly
mean?
it. Yeah.
But what I think is going to be interesting here, this little funny story. I've said this multiple
Yeah.
times. I don't know if you've
Picked up
whether
on the
it's just,
prior episodes.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably just you and my mom watching a previous episode.
That's great. She's the biggest fan. I'm telling you, it's great.
So like I have this joke that I'm trying to formalize, but it's like when you have an app and that pop-up comes up that says, like, do you want to be tracked? Right? It's literally like, you ever seen Taken? Where
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Like,
Liam Neeson's like,
get you. I
the
know
ad
you
is
live.
the equivalent of like, I'm a man with very special
Very
skills.
special
I will
skills.
find you and I will kill you.
I
Right?
will kill you. Right.
That's what it makes you feel like, where you're like, oh, I don't know whether I want to do this. Why am I
Right.
doing this? But then if you
But
go to
it's
the
funny, even Liam Neeson
app,
gives him an opt out. I think at one point, like, game over now, and I will not come after you after he finds them. And they're like, oh, crap. Yeah, yeah.
but there's if you ever go to the App Store, I got the new iPhone, and so you have to do all your new prompts again.
Yep.
When you go to the App Store, Apple has to follow their own rules. But do you know what their pop-up looks like? It literally says, would you like Apple to highly personalize the apps that are good for you? Please
Right.
plus allow.
Yes.
It's
He's
like,
saying it, though. Isn't it funny? They're
yeah.
like, you really
Yep.
do want this. You know you do. And here's
I
why.
know.
And yeah, you're like,
Highly
oh,
personalized.
yeah. What am I missing out on? Like, you know me. I trust you, Apple, right? You're super private. And,
I mean, like
everything's
everything
encrypted.
everything I have is Apple, but they're the biggest liars in the world. It's like, you guys are liars.
So true. Yeah.
It's
Steven,
crazy,
yeah,
right?
dude, I got you beat.
Yeah.
I got the one for the accountant. Trust me, it's just in case I
Yeah,
need the extra
exactly.
keypad. Like, no, I really like this. All right, just give me that one again. Anyways,
Yep,
sorry,
yep. And, I mean, I was total
but
Apple couldn't do no wrong, because I wasn't a PC guy, right? Apple could do
yeah,
no
I
wrong.
remember.
But like as time passes, you're kind of like, you guys, everyone's evil, man. Like all of you guys.
Yeah, you got to pick your poison. At the
Yeah,
end. But I think
yeah.
the cool thing on the brand side is, like, they've also know that their game is advertising, and how do they make those connections or sponsoring. We're going to give you Google exclusive rights to Safari on our
Yep.
devices, and now Google's like, great, now we know all the iPhone users that we don't have access to because we have all of our Android devices linked to us. So
Yep.
everything's feeding this bigger thing, and this
Yeah.
ecosystem that you have to be a part of in order to win. And so you have to, as much as we want to argue against it, we're happy when we see Facebook, or I should say, Apple ratchet down their privacy, and Facebook's like, sorry, everyone, we can't give you better ads. And yet it's consumers are like, I think that might be good. But, and then as advertisers are like, curse you, you've created so many problems for me. My cost per lead is like way through the roof now because you made a change, and it's the right change.
Yep.
But yeah, how do we get better then as marketers? So
Yeah.
I love those pressures. It's something that obviously, we can have an entire episode about that whole, change and what that means and where the future's going, and cookieless and all of that. But, it's truly these platforms that, brands and retailers and any CPG, we're all like auto dealer, like we're all manufacturer. Everyone's got to get a little play into that. That's the only, because people are there and they're going to find you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I mean,
Liam
that's
Neeson.
sort of, that's sort of, where we're at. I think that one of the things that, I'm flexing a little bit here, but
Sure.
I wrote an article for Forbes, and in the article for Forbes, I talked about how we're building our house on sand, kind of a biblical thing.
Yeah,
Here.
it's a great one.
You don't own any of the platforms.
Yeah.
Like every marketing agency that you do, they don't own Google, they don't own Facebook, they don't own any of this stuff. And so I remember getting whacked by Penguin from Google in 2013 and being like, this is really, really bad. Meaning, did an algorithm change? I don't control Google, and now the visibility I've earned for myself and for my other clients, I have to figure out how to do this all over again, right?
Yeah.
And then, then Facebook, you used to have all this traffic for free, and then they go public, and then now it's like 2 or 3%. So now you got to buy that audience back, which I'm still okay with because you're paying for targeting, but that's neither here nor there. But then you're like, well, I think those days are over. And then Apple does a privacy update. And so like every 3 to 5 years, expect the marketing world, like somebody's tree is going to be shaken.
Absolutely.
But what I do know is that data is more expensive than oil. And so they're going to find a way to get that data. Like you can change the rules, but it's like water. Like it'll always find.
It'll flow into that.
It'll always flow into that, whatever.
Least resistance. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so is it harder? It's harder for now. Like I tell my kids are like, oh, I can't climb that rock wall. I'm like, yet. You can't climb that rock wall yet.
That's it.
Like, that's the way it is with marketing. It's like, well, no, we can't do retargeting ads effectively. I'm like, yet. It's a hiccup.
That's right.
But I promise you, the best minds in the world are still going to find ways to get to that guy who's selling the product.
And you got to look into them and find out, if other services are the right ones for you to kind of get you there as well. And there's several that you could go with, and is that the right, horse that you want to ride, And so absolutely, we're constantly looking at those same things and having, webinars and conference calls and really trying to understand it, for our clients that we all get to represent, which is great. And then at the end of the day, it's, sometimes it doesn't completely pan out the same way, but, because everything's built for really large companies ultimately. And it's all about how do we get it now downstream to the SMB market. And so the greatest ideas are truly aimed at the bigger companies adopting them and using them and proving the use case, and then everyone else follows. And so so keep watching them, keep seeing what you can do like them, and you're going to find some things that might not be your full 100% all in today, but test. That was probably one of the greatest things I got from QVC. Like we had, most people don't realize, like, QVC back in the day had like an unlimited marketing budget, but it was never noted in our budget for the year. It was just, you literally went and pitched the CEO. And so I'd walk up on marketing plans and I'd have different counterparts to prove, like, here's what we expect to see. Okay, let's go do it. Let's see how it works. And I think that mentality of any marketer today is kind of proving itself out more and more, where it is, you have to be responsible for your budget and obviously for, what you're driving to the bottom line. But, that ROI, return on advertising spend, all those like metrics and KPIs are so important for clients, that we always need to be testing. So let's find what those next areas are. Let's do some testing and let's go for it, because it's going to be, it'll be different. So let's be prepared all the time to wait and know that something is coming.
Yeah.
That's what keeps me up a lot of times, by the way. It is that next, like, I'm always looking out and trying to understand what that is going to be, for our clients. But at the end of the day, the 95% of their business is still being done the way that, that we continue to help them build, getting leads to them, help their website do better, their mobile strategy do better. But at the end, it's like, you got to always know and keep your eye on what could be, down the pike.
Yeah. And that's where I feel like we're making significant investments into AI. And so the AI will allow us to test and scale at a speed that is unparalleled to a human. It's very like, I was trying to compare it to, do you remember the myth, not the myth or whatever it is, the story about Paul Henry? Do you remember Paul Henry?
Help me out.
Paul Henry was this guy, and he was working on the railroad, and he was like this amazing worker, and he could basically he could just pile the screws onto the railroad faster than any man alive.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they came out with a steam engine that would automatically do it. And so Paul Henry challenges the steam engine, and Paul Henry wins. And then if I remember the story correctly, he dies.
Right.
Literally worked so hard that he dies. Right. Well, like AI will be that machine that, like, no matter how hard you try, you're going to need more Paul Henrys to even keep up with that. It's just not even possible.
Exactly right.
And I've said this on multiple podcasts though, is like when you had an abacus, when the calculator came out, accountants didn't like, oh my gosh, I'm out of a job. You know what I mean? They basically said, okay, now I got a better tool, and now I can do levels of accounting that I never had the time, energy, or money for.
Right.
And so AI will be our new foundation, and we will layer on top things that we never had a chance to get to.
Exactly right, and it's new opportunities, and it does remind you of the old, the old computer took up an entire floor of a skyrise back in the day. Those IBM systems were unbelievable, and they had multiple people that had to feed information into them and then be able to interpret them. And you didn't have a printout right away. You had these cards that got marked up for you. And so everything was a ton of people now on this new platform where, the accountants were looking at the budget, we really need a budget for this many people to do this now. And it's just, it really is to understand where you have to be, because it's going to overtake you. And if you're not there, you're going to be, outdated and you're going to be kind of like the railroads. That's a great analogy in general, the old railroads, the old, car manufacturing systems and such. And today it's just, people think about it, people today can order a car with the exact color and trim and everything else that they want.
Yeah.
That doesn't fit into Henry Ford's model back in his day of just cranking out.
You can pick any color you want as long as it's black.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Congratulations. Oh, this is awesome. And it was awesome. But man, consumerism in general, we always strive for more and better. And and that's what, innovation really is looking to help solve, for us all. And so, it's exciting. I literally love this part of where we're at, in technology and in information space. That I think it's just getting better for people and helping us, more than it ever did before. But it can be scary for different size companies, because their budgets have to shift if they're all still, we still deal with a lot who have budgets that are still in traditional media. That still works. It still works to different degrees.
It's actually a renaissance now, because everyone's digital.
Do you remember postcard marketing? I know. It's wow. But now if they hit your website, you could send them a postcard. What? Yeah. Get out of here. Companies are now that I can get behind. Sure, let's just do it. Let's hit up 3 people nearby, just because somebody might have interest. Your neighbors may be all talking. And so let's just create a little campaign, So it's how do you use all these things that can work and work really well for you? So
it's like I use an expression. It's kind of like the theater of war. Like when U.S. got into World War, it's probably bad timing for all this talk. But
I know.
When U.S. got into World War II, we hit them by land, sea, and air.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's literally how marketing is starting to work. It's I'm going to hit you with traditional, but I'm going to be able to know the return on investment on that. I'm going to be able to hit you digitally. Now I'm going to hit you on your TV. I'm going to hit you. You know what I mean? It's it's literally the theater of war. And
absolutely.
It's crazy, but
we created, I'll share with you sometime, maybe it's a whole nother episode too, just to talk about, customer journeys and such like that. But we created a visual for our customers to understand what that looks like. Because when we can communicate through that, then all of a sudden they understand, that's right. I do need to make sure I'm hitting them here and here. And,
I have a room. Let's see if I can, I don't know that you can see it subtly.
I see it in there. Yeah. Yeah, you kind of hide it with the pillar.
I draw my customer's journey, and I'm like,
that's it.
When they get here, what are we going to say? What are we going to do?
What are they? Exactly. What are the action points? Exactly. Yeah. So we got tons of foreign retailers at our agency that literally ask us daily, what can we do more? How do we do this better? I'm spending money still on radio. Is that producing for me? So let's look at that and dissect that and change that for you. So it's good. It's fun. It's refreshing. And, if you can be an advocate and you build trust with any client, because you're showing results, you're showing them where they need to go. They love it. And so, you get these small independents competing against the big ones, and it makes everyone better and gives the customer the best option at the end.
Yeah, dude. Dave, you are easily the easiest person to talk to on the planet, especially with marketing. So
awesome, man. I eat, breathe, and sleep it with you, so it's crazy. We can talk it all day. Talk it all day, night. It's crazy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's great, man. That's
So,
great.
we're running out of time, but
Yeah,
so if
thanks
people
for having
wanted to
me.
find
That's
out
good.
about you and your agency, where would they find you?
Yeah, mobile-marketing.agency. Check us out. We do a lot of things really catered in the DIY space. Flooring is a big segment of our business, and other e-commerce strategies alongside those categories. So definitely check us out. I'd love to help you. And certainly check out Chris and Ferrotech, and you can take it away, Chris.
This is great. This is great.
Yeah.
So we will have Dave back often. He's the kind of my pinch hitter when I
Awesome.
when I need a good topic. I don't even have to like
I
wonder
appreciate
whether
it.
I can find a speaker to do that. Dave's always the guy. So
Oh,
Dave,
thanks, man.
this is awesome.
Thanks, Chris.
To
Appreciate
my
it as well.
Yeah, this is great. To the people that watch the show, if you're new to the show, please click on the notification. Please subscribe. We try to put out content like this every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And my other goal is to basically find the best marketing thought leaders on the planet to kind of share insights, tactics, tips, and all that stuff like that. Our goal is for you to try these things out in your own plan. And if you need help, we're always here to help. So thanks,
Exactly.
and we will see you next
Cool.
time.
Thanks, man.